Okay, it looks like according to Zoom, we are recording. This is the Release the Snyder Cut Round Table. This is number 7. I am Joseph Todd, a.k.a. ZodWriter, and with me on the panel, we have Lord Kojay.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy.
What's going on, Kojay? We have Mr. Louis Centeno, the one and only.
That's right.
Superman himself right here on the panel with us.
Well,
And
I'm Batman today.
Oh, you're Batman today.
Oh,
Okay. And we have
that.
Parademon 44.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Welcome to the
How's
panel.
life? Hail Darkseid and all that.
Hail Darkseid and all that. Yes, sir. So this, being that it is an official RT Snyder Cut podcast or panel, I have to say that it's exciting to be here with you, gentlemen. I don't think we could have decided to do this at a better time, because now we have just so many things to be excited about, given the fact that the announcement has been made and we know we're getting the Snyder Cut. So I guess I want to take a moment and have each of you talk about your experience about the day that you found out. Well, on the 20th, when you found out that the movie was actually getting released. I guess we'll start with you, Parademon 44.
Why not?
Where were you, and how did you feel when you heard it, and what was going through your mind at the time?
Well, I was at home, because I was watching the Man of Steel watch party and all that, so I was definitely home. But I the 2 days leading up to it, really like even before that, I would say like the week leading up to it, I kind of felt like we all had an idea. There was a lot of rumblings going on. So I'm not going to say that took away from the surprise, but when it did happen, when the announcement happened, I will say that, you feel me, I called a few of my friends, and I said some things, a lot of cursing, a lot of celebrating, you feel what I mean? A lot of, oh my God, so it was a really big thing when it happened to me, at least in my life, you feel me? I pretty much called everyone that I pretty much told about the Snyder Cut, because a lot of my friends already even know that, I'm part of the movement, that, this is a thing that is part of my life that I'm really into. So it felt good to actually finally tell them that, like, yeah, look, it's actually happening. Plus, when you've been talking about this for close to 3 years to people and everything, for a long time, sometimes they start looking at you a little odd, like, it's like, damn, he's still going on with this. So it's also a little bit, validating to be like, haha, it happened. So it was a good day. It was a good moment. And of course, I hopped on Twitter with the guys like Kojay, you feel me? And everybody was going crazy and everything. Like, everybody was like little girls at the candy factory. So that was my experience. Unfortunately, I was just at home because, I wasn't at the beach or, doing anything too special, but it was still special nonetheless to me.
Absolutely. And Mr. Centeno, can you tell us a little bit about your experience about hearing the information that we were finally getting the Snyder Cut, being that you are the gentleman that you are, and you were well aware of this ahead of time, as you did so kindly let a lot of us know. So
well, I got wind on Tuesday, and I got hit up. And the word that was given to me is that word on the street is that Henry Cavill is going to join Zack Snyder. So I kind of knew that already. I didn't put it on. I didn't tweet that out because I just didn't have the energy to go through all that stuff. But I told you, I sent you a private DM, and I sent quite a few. And then I woke up Wednesday, like any other day I was working, and then I had a therapy session for my back, because I have back issues. So as I'm driving, I'm hearing, Zach, talk about, the Man of Steel, and I was watching it through the Chris Wan stream. So I was hearing him narrate everything. So when I got out of the therapy, I'm driving. Now, the doctor office is about 35, 40 minutes away from my house. But I'm so focused that when I laid down for my therapy, the chiropractor did what he did, and I left my wallet on the floor. So I go to my car and I'm driving, and then when I get off my exit, I'm looking for my wallet. I'm like, where's my wallet? And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I turn back and I'm still listening to. So I wasn't that mad. Now, if it would have been another day, I would have been upset. Like, man, I made all this shit for nothing, wasted gas because I have an SUV. But I drove back, and then I hear Zach when they asked him when you're gonna release the Snyder Cut. He gave the usual answer. Well, it's not up to me. You know, it's up to Warner Brothers. I'm saying to myself, oh Lord. Don't tell me we're gonna have to wait. I'm like, no, it cannot be. You know, it doesn't make sense. And why would Henry Cavill, you know, join in there? And then when he made the announcement, I was screaming, like really screaming, like cars were passing by. They were looking at me like I was crazy. I was screaming like, finally. I just feel like all the hard work, you know, because I came at the end. You know, I came at, you know, towards the end. Is you guys, you know, I was there from the beginning. But I just feel like a relief, like, wow, we're finally gonna see what we've been fighting for. So I was really, really ecstatic.
Awesome. And you, Kojay.
Yo, I knew it was going on, but I had work at the time. So I was just wondering. I didn't even know Henry Cavill was there. I didn't even know fans were, you know, on the same screen as him. So I was actually just finishing up with the patient at work because I work at a hospital, right? And Chris Hughes text messages me instantly as soon as he knows during the whole thing that it came out. So I got a text message from him and I saw it. I was like, it's him. This is oddly timed. Oh, so then I had a moment where I could just look at it and look at the message, and he told me the Snyder Cut's coming out. But I'm at work. I have to be professional. So it's like, it was like that for like 4 hours. It was crazy, but I stuttered a bit at work. I was unprofessional. I was so excited that, it was a big weight released from the chest, all the stress, all the ambiguity, all the questions, all the stuff we had to endure. And we're just rewarded. And it was just kind of unreal at the time, but it's a really good feeling. Yeah. It's like a miracle at 34th Street or whatever.
Yeah, it really is. It really is something like that. You can equate it to that. Absolutely. I know for me personally, I had the Man of Steel stream up, and I was watching Man of Steel and listening to the commentary at the live stream. And when Daniela asked the question and the announcement was made, I can't lie, I teared up a little bit. I didn't yell or scream. I just sort of started to get a little bit emotional. Like,
I was blinking
I could feel myself. I could feel myself starting to break down a little bit just because of the sheer, joy of it, the release of it, like the great release. Like, you just feel like you're, and I can concur with you about that feeling, like a great weight has been lifted, and you just have that feeling that we finally accomplished what we set out to do. And that's a beautiful thing. And it just goes to show what a collective of like-minded individuals from all around the world, when they set their mind on a goal, they can accomplish anything. And it's such a beautiful result. And it just is a testament to how this is going to change the way things are in terms of how these movies are released, how things are in Hollywood in terms of studios taking fandoms seriously and stuff like that. So for me, I don't know. It's still a little bit surreal. Even to this day, it's still a little bit hard to finally rack your brain around it and think, because I don't know about you guys, but when you think about it, every single day has had something to do with #release the Snyder Cut. I mean, from the moment, you wake up during the day, you start your day, whatever you do, you go to work, whatever, release the Snyder Cut is in your mind. And then when you get on Twitter and everything, the social media presence, the the conflicts that occur on Twitter as a result of the people going back and forth about various, arguments about the state of the actual cut. Is it done? Is it not done? How much is it going to cost to finish it? All the various things that, we go through as fans and as people, ingrained in the movement. So, I mean, I think we're in a unique position now where we can actually step back and just really, really enjoy what's happening now. And I think that's something to be celebrated.
Agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, it's so amazing, like what you were saying, that when we put our minds together, and contrary to what the people on Twitter say that we're toxic, 90% of us are not. It's unfortunate that we get labeled that way. But right now, I mean, I don't care if it's the cut is done or not done, if it's $40 million or 20 or 80 or 100. All I know is we're getting a Snyder Cut. And everything else to me is just irrelevant. It's just I'm so like like when it's coming, like you know what, forget about it. Why argue my point when I know it's coming? So I mean, and it's gonna even be even better. Think about that. Here we are, we're expecting 2 14-minutes, and we're gonna get more. I mean, isn't that amazing? We're gonna get more than 2 14-minutes. I mean, this is to me, it's awesome. And wow, Kojay, you like to watch a lot of movies. Look
I know, right?
Yeah.
This whole time, not even listening to any of you guys. I'm just staring at Kojay's Batman the Animated Series collection behind him. Sorry.
It's really the traditional geek dick measuring. It's like, look what I got. Traditional. Like, you see the smart people have their interviews, like doctors and whatever, and they have all these almanacs and all that.
It's that mesmerizing element, giving us all something to focus on. It's like let's see if we can make out the titles.
Just don't look at my bad laundry on that side.
I think that this is like the greatest time in the world to be a DC fan. Honestly, at this
I agree.
point, we've got so much in store for us now. It's just amazing. Like I remember listening to you guys, your podcast, Kojay and 44, and you guys, when you guys were talking about it, just a couple of, I think it was like a couple days prior, where you had basically said, they'd have to be, I think it was you, 44, that said they'd have to be stupid at this point not to put it out, because of the demand. And it's just so true. Like it's just like, you want to make money as a company. And we've all been saying for many, many months that, HBO Max would be the best place for it to appear. And I mean, just to see that become a reality, it's just like either we're all very, very smart in being able to determine what they were going to do, or it just seemed like the complete logical thing to do. And I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest.
Well, here's a question for you, three. Let's say, I'm assuming that the Snyder, because let's just say it's going to do well, because to me it's going to do well. What are you hoping of the future of the DCE, and what do you think is going to happen?
I'll go first. Well, I want to add to that and say not just the future of the DCEU, but and talk about the future of DC Comics in general. Like, I think that the Snyder Cut is going to add a well-needed fire under DC Comics. Like, whether people like it or not, the films fuel the comics just like the comics fuel the films. Like, we can't be one end is doing good and then the other end is doing bad. So when you have these films like, Justice League that came out that wasn't Zack Snyder's version, that comes out and, nobody likes it, nobody's into it. Nobody really likes the direction they're going, and they're kind of just rehashing, things that they've already done in the comics. It creates a thing where then the comics don't have anything to inspire them to pull from. Like, if you look at films like BVS, as much as shit people try to give that film, you can just see alone how much stuff they pulled from BVS and then brought it into the comics. And then if you look at BVS as a movie, you can see all the things that BVS pulled from the comics and brought into the films. So it's a give and take relationship. And I think with, Zack Snyder's Justice League finally being able to see the light of day is going to benefit future DCU films, like obviously films that are in the Snyderverse, you feel me, by giving it more depth, you feel what I mean, and of course more artistic freedom and all that, but it's also going to benefit the comics, because if the films are able to take chances on the big screen, then the smaller writers, the small comic book writers are going to be able to take chances in the comics. They're going to say like, oh, people like this in the movie. Let's do something like this in the comics, or people like that, or people like this. And just like how people love, Nightmare Batman, and now Nightmare Batman is in the comics now, and these things are going to continue, and they're going to continue to snowball. And this is how I feel like these characters are going to continue to stay alive, and how people are going to continue to love them and see them with fresh eyes, so they can continue to reinvent themselves. So I think that the Snyder Cut, or AKA Zack Snyder JL, is going to benefit the DCEU wildly. Like, there's so many new options and directions that they can go in now. Like, people are already talking about, a Batman live action series, something that people have been wanting for like the last 20 years now. People have been wanting Batman to be back on TV, like the Cyborg series. People are talking about other movies like Black Adam being tied into Man of Steel. Now people are more interested in it now, because with Zack Snyder's JL coming out, they're like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen in, the Snyder Cut, and then how that's going to lead to Black Adam versus Superman. Like, there's so many interesting things that they can do here. And, I hope they just keep the ball rolling, because this is the type of like synergy we need, in DC, not only amongst the fans, but amongst the creators. And on top of that, I'm tired of seeing DC creators shit on other DC creators. I hope that comes to an end. I'm tired of seeing comic book writers shit on the filmmakers. I'm tired of seeing filmmakers say things about, the comics. Just stop it. It's unprofessional. Like, you guys should be working.
Exactly like what you said, they've already adopted Zack Snyder's Wonder Woman, DCU Wonder Woman, as canon, as her outfit. Look at her outfit in the comics. Zack Snyder's touch right there. They coexist together. So it's like the rising tide brings all ships up kind of thing. And, they'll feed off each other really well, like they did in the past. And I think this problem has caused a disconnect.
Absolutely. And I like all the points that you made about the comics, because the comics are very important, and they need something to jumpstart the industry. I mean, at one point they had been talking. There had been articles stating, well, what if Zack Snyder's Justice League was turned into a graphic novel? And it's just like, when you think about it, it's like there's no need for that. Zack Snyder's influence is going to inspire several graphic novels and comic books. That's what you want. You want your legacy to imprint upon the source medium, which would be comic books. And that's I think that the implications are tremendous. I couldn't agree more with everything you just said. I mean, it's nice to think about that too, because I don't know about you guys, but I kind of, fell out of reading the comics, in recent years, because the comics have come off as kind of watered down and have been kind of suffering quite a bit. So right now it's like we're in a position where we're finally able to get what we, get more of what we love, and to be happy and excited for the future. So yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No, this is what I think is going to happen. Once Justice League is released on HBO Max, I believe the direction that, and I talked a little bit about my show. Don't be surprised. Example, let's take the Batman Deathstroke, right? that comes out in a theater. It comes out in the theater, and then from there they do like a mini series on HBO Max. So you have a cinema setting up a series on HBO Max. So you get the best of both worlds. And I actually think that Justice League towards the end credit, because Deathstroke Joe, he gave us a clue. He put the bat single, the Deathstroke. So don't be surprised. The end credit sets up the Batman versus Deathstroke. I'm telling you guys,
I'm waiting for this for a while.
no, I'm telling you, I heard, okay, and you guys do some research, not just me, but you know, and I've been saying this since 18, but I'm telling you, it's not it, because the Snyder Cut's gonna do well. For us, that fans that bought it, even the fans that hated it, they're gonna want to watch it. Yeah. Even the people that is so. Like my family that know about it, they're gonna want to watch it. Like, well, what's this big thing that everybody, was writing about? So it's gonna do well. Okay, so if that does well, and here's the key, people, you have to subscribe to HBO Max, because that's the key. Because if we subscribe to HBO Max and keep it there, we're going to get the Batman versus Deathstroke. I am telling you, we're gonna get it. Okay, now I don't be surprised that that also sets up Flashpoint as well. So I mean, it sets up everything. So everything to me is looking bright now. I feel like we're back in 2016, right before Batman versus Superman was released. It just has the feel that right before it was released, we knew. I mean, what did we knew? We was getting a Green Lantern, and guys, and also, I'm telling you, here's my dark horse. Ryan Reynolds is the Green Lantern. He's gonna be in a Snyder Cut. I just got that feeling. I don't know anything. I just got that feeling.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if he is. Like, I like with Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern. Like, I'm not like other people where I hated him at Green Lantern. It wasn't him, even though I wouldn't have chosen him to be Green Lantern either. But it wasn't him. It was everything around him.
Well, here's the thing, though.
That includes the outfit.
That's true.
But that was all around him.
But here's the thing: is he? Yes or no? Is he a better actor now than he was 10 years ago?
Absolutely.
So either way, how you look at it, if people's gonna say that he was terrible for Green Lantern, okay, I agree with you. Is he a better actor now? He is. He did Deadpool. He's a much better actor, just like Ben Affleck. When he did Daredevil, it was horrible. And look at him now. We love him as Batman. We want him back. People get better. Yeah. And I actually think he will be a perfect Green Lantern.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I think that, especially, under the certain aesthetics and tone, that he could fit in the universe quite well. Like, and there was also rumors of Tom Cruise and everything too. And he's also somebody that could have also fit. But Ryan Reynolds is definitely someone that can fit. I don't think that they're gonna go with this. If they do, Adam, it's not gonna be the same take at all that was in the Green Lantern that was released. I don't even think they're gonna tie that in. They might just use him and then just have him be like the Green Lantern in this universe and just leave that Green Lantern film where it's at. But I
using him as an established Green Lantern.
Yeah.
He's already gone through everything. So he could, in theory, still be the same Green Lantern from that Green Lantern movie, but just now enough time has passed and he's established as that character. So
because
he come back as
they
like
did
a
the same
hero.
thing with the Batman films, the original Batman films with Superman. They would mention Superman and they were talking about the Superman movies, but they just couldn't have Christopher Reeves in the movies. They couldn't really show you and be like, yeah, it's all the same universe, but they essentially they referenced it and they can do
they did in Batman Forever. They mentioned Metropolis and Batman and Robin. They had a joke about this is why Superman doesn't have partners. He was definitely existing and coexisting in that universe.
So I think it would be the next step past that you don't have to say the Green Lantern film is canon, but you can just leave it up in the air, because they essentially did the same thing with Batfleck for a while, when it came to BVS, with him being the older Batman in 20 years, and that was good in a way because then you can just leave it to fans to just fill in their own headcanon as they want. Like if you want to think that he's the Batman from the Burton films and whatever. If you want to think that he's the Batman from the animated series, okay. But all that stuff isn't set in stone yet. But what we do know is that all those things and storylines and experiences that those Batman went through, he most likely went through the same thing or something similar. So it could definitely work. I think it could work for sure.
It's kind of like I don't know if y'all played video games, but Zelda games. They had in one of the games they hinted that these are all stories retold or different generations telling the same story. And yeah, it's cool because I play Imagination, hooking up my own kind of marathon with these movies. And I wouldn't mind the Green Lantern movie being canon for the DCEU, because he does take off in the end to go to OA and work for a while. But the only problem is they have Angela Bassett as Amanda Waller in that, and we've already got Amanda Waller in Suicide Squad. So there's little things like that you can't do, but it would be nice.
The thing is, you can always justify, a change as an actor or an actor
like a new actor.
It's not like because look at the example 44 gave when he was talking about the other Batman movies. All those Batman movies, those early Batman movies in the Tim Burton universe, all take place in the same continuity, but it's all different actors as three different actors playing Batman. So again, we have. It's not like that's unheard of that you'd have a different actor. So that I think they could get away with the Amanda Waller thing. I think they could.
Yeah. Now that you say it, I agree too. They did recast Two-Face from Billy D. Williams, so
which to me I think was the biggest tragedy of those three movies. But
yeah, that was stupid.
I gotta find the artist, but
I was actually watching Batman Forever recently too, and Tommy Lee Jones is so bad at
I mean, and you know what the thing that irritates me the most about it, more than any other reason, is because Billy D. Williams really wanted to do it.
Yeah, he did.
Really wanted to play Two-Face.
He did.
I mean, he had a passion for it. He was upset. So
he was.
Really I gotta find it. I have this painting by an artist at Anime Expo, and what he did, he drew a picture of Billy D. Williams as Two-Face, but on the side he used the color template of Two-Face from Batman Forever, and just did a picture as if he was casted. So cool.
Yeah,
I've seen pictures like that.
Didn't Billy D. Williams get to voice Two-Face in one of the Lego Batman movies? I think he got to in Lego Batman. I think he did finally get to voice Two-Face.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
I would have to check that. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was so he did get a chance to eventually play the character, but it's just the idea that he didn't get to do it in live action, and he would have been perfect. Honestly, I mean, when you think about how Tommy Lee Jones essentially ruined that role,
Yeah,
Billy D would have rocked it, and because he would have taken I think Billy D would have took it more serious.
Yeah, but I think what it was that the franchise took a left turn when they pretty much made Burton step away. Mm-hmm. So because of that, if Burton was still around, if Burton had made the third Batman film, then everybody would have came back. Billy D. Williams would have been there.
I think the only actor they kept was
Marlon Wayans as Robin.
Right. I think the only actor they kept was Pat Hingle, the guy that played
Alfred, right?
Gordon. Well, yeah. Pat Hingle for Commissioner Gordon, and then Alfred, that guy Alfred Gaw, that old guy that played Alfred in all three movies too. Yeah, I think that's. But are you guys excited? And I have to ask you guys: are you guys excited? Speaking of Alfred, are you guys excited to see more of Jeremy Irons as Alfred? I mean, I think he's the best. I think he's the best iteration of Alfred that there's ever been. I love his take on the character.
You think so? I kind of like the. I mean, Jeremy Irons is great. He complements Ben. But I to me it's neck and neck with him and Michael Caine.
I think. To be honest, I never really liked Michael Caine as Alfred.
No,
I actually like the Alfred from Gotham better than him. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, because then that's not nothing against Michael Caine, but that's really because of the fact that like Nolan uses Michael Caine so much that like when I'm watching the Nolan Batman films, I don't really see him as Alfred. I just see him as Michael Caine. Like, you know,
Yeah,
like,
that's a good point. That is a really good point because he shows up in everything Nolan puts out. It's like
he's
you
in a
see him
lot
in
of
something.
movies.
It's like, okay, dude. Yeah, like, but Jeremy Irons, I can't wait, and I'm
I wonder what he's
totally.
gonna do in the next film.
Oh yeah,
I
and
can't wait to see that too because I love Jeremy Irons because I like the guy from the Burton films. Sorry, I'm forgetting his name, but
Alfred Gaw was the guy from the Burton films.
Alfred played Alfred.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked him a lot because he had that that butler, caring and supportive and almost uncle father loving vibe
Actually,
about
wait.
him.
Oh, wait. No, I'm incorrect. His name's not Alfred Gaw. His name was Michael Gaw. But
Okay.
okay.
All right. Scratch, erase, da. So then but what I like about Jeremy Irons, he had that, but he also looked like a guy who definitely had MI6 experience. And
Yeah, you could totally
that's something
believe
I like to
that.
see. That's someone who would go and support Bruce on this crazy crusade, I feel.
Yep.
And I like that balance. And I got that a lot from Gotham too.
Believability for Alfred is something that, you know, Zack Snyder gave us with the character for all the characters. I mean, for me, the most and the biggest thing that I am most looking forward to about Snyder Cut is Cyborg. I am so excited for Ray Fisher and for what they have planned for us for the Cyborg character. Because literally, when you have Zack Snyder telling us that Cyborg is the heart of Justice League, and you have Ray Fisher who literally put his career on hold to support Zack Snyder and to help the movement. That tells you something about the depth of this character. This is probably going to be the greatest on-screen portrayal of superheroes we've ever seen, and Cyborg is going to be the crown jewel of the whole thing. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I want to go first. All right.
Okay.
Sorry. I love Cyborg so much, and I got into him from Teen Titans, the show, and then got into the more reading the comics of the character because I kind of read Teen Titans as a team. I never focused on characters individually since that, and I was just drawn to the character being a man of two worlds, and if someone who's mixed ethnicity, anyone can identify that. Like with Blade, who's co-made by the same guy who did Cyborg, Marv Wolfram, who I got to meet, which is great. Like Blade is half man, half vampire. Cyborg is half man, half machine. What two worlds do you belong to, or both, or you make your own? And I always liked that, and I liked his attitude, his abilities, and his vulnerability while having all this great power. And then you get such a sensitive and strong performing actor as Ray Fisher. It just seems so perfect. Like the voice actor in Teen Titans for Cyborg, he's like my Kevin Conroy for Cyborg. And then seeing how Ray Fisher is as Cyborg as a glimpse in that, dark parody called Justice League. It's just, which Blackpink couldn't even save, is that you see the passion in that character, and he gets it. We just didn't get to see him extended. And the very first thing that sold me on Justice League that this is going to be great is not only is it Zack Snyder and his work is consistent and I love it, but I remember hearing that Zack Snyder and reading that Zack Snyder had Cyborg be the heart of the story. And this is back when they announced Justice League Part 1, Part 2. And I was so excited about that because I also love RoboCop, and I know that's one of his favorite films too. So I feel like he understands that he's going to take the character where I hope and pray to see him going. And all the posts and everything just got me amped up. So Zack Snyder's portrayal of Cyborg and Ray Fisher's performance of Cyborg, I feel that's going to be my favorite cream of the crop right there.
I feel that.
No, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I agree with that 100%. Like, I can't wait to just see, how much depth is in the performance. Like, from what we've seen from stills and things that have been taken out, it's almost like a damn crime that we haven't seen it yet, you know. And it is, quite an admirable thing to see, Ray Fisher hold on for so long and be in Snyder's corner so hard, and to see it all pay off for him. It is good to feel good to see him get that W. It does, and I feel like there's gonna be something special, in that film regarding Cyborg for sure. I don't know what it is, but I think that we're gonna get a lot of amazing Cyborg moments in Zack Snyder's JL, and that is probably one of the biggest things that may have been taken away from us is the Cyborg stuff, because if we go down the line of how the DCEU films are going, specifically even the ones made by Zack Snyder, like they were all introducing new characters in each one and giving them a lot of burn, and they did the same thing with like Wonder Woman and Batman and BVS, and Cyborg I feel was going to get the same treatment, along with other characters like Aquaman and Flash and everything too. And because if you think about it, we've already been introduced to Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. Like I think Wonder Woman was already out by then. So I think we're gonna get to spend a lot of time with these characters when this film comes out, and it's gonna be great.
Yes, absolutely. And you, Louis?
Remember, Ray Fisher said that Zack shot enough footage for 2 Cyborg movie. Now let that sink in. Ray Fisher said that Zack Snyder shot enough for 2 Cyborg movie. So it's gonna tell you, and for me, because Zack is good with parents and kids. So I'm looking for the dialogue that he's gonna have with his mom on the screen. I'm looking because it's gonna be emotional. It's gonna be touchy. I'm looking forward towards that. And honestly, I'm also, as a Superman fan, I am looking forward on the history lesson to see Supergirl in the history lesson. Ooh. I am looking forward, because remember when Darkseid says no Kryptonian, no lanterns here? He didn't know about Superman. Think about that. He did not know about Superman. He must have fought a Kryptonian. Which Kryptonian is that? And Zack gave a hint on his Man of Steel watch party that the Supergirl exists in the universe. So I'm not gonna bet my house this time, but I'm telling you, man, I know she's in there. I know she's in there. And that's how you set up the Man of Steel 2 sequel with Supergirl, and then hopefully with Brainiac. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Yes, me too.
How many people here, everybody here, feel like I do, like this is going to be the greatest cinematic thing of all time? I mean, this is just going to be the greatest superhero film ever. Like,
yeah, I do.
I mean, my God, I can't even. I mean, I've never been more excited about anything film wise my entire life. So,
yeah, I do for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to live up. It's something that's actually going to not only live up to the hype, but it's going to surpass the hype and silence the haters. I really feel like it is, because it's just.
Well, the haters gonna hate no matter how good it is. Yeah. No matter how, I mean, I tell you, God himself could come down off the throne and say that it's a good movie, and the haters gonna hate. Yeah. So I'm not worried about that. Okay, I think the studio learned a lesson now. They learned a lesson. They know there's a fan base that will support Zack Snyder, and forget about all the bloggers, forget about all that stuff. And if I'm a director now, I have the authority now. I could go to, and we talked a little bit with you and Chris. Well, okay, I want the score, the Rotten Tomato score. I don't want you to release it a month after my movie release. Oh, you don't want to do that? Okay, I'll take my stuff to HBO Max. I mean, you know, that's so the haters gonna hate, but there is nothing. I mean, I'm hoping that it comes out January 1st. That's what I'm hoping, man. Yeah, man. Yeah.
I think at this point it really doesn't matter what the haters think, because
Yeah, I agree.
like, because this is what the fans wanted from the beginning. It's like, you know, no, not to you know, put down, you know, the things of the past or the old films or the old comics of the past, but you know, people have been waiting for a very long time to see DC do some new things on the big screen. You feel me? And that means all across the board, even when it comes just down to characters like Batman and Superman. And we want that, like, you know, and Zack Snyder as a filmmaker and other filmmakers like him, you know, David Ayer too, they were trying to do that. Like, you know, they were trying to do things on the big screen that haven't been done in prior films, and you feel me, even on the TV shows or anything. And we have to, as fans, we have to kind of go with the flow. And as you know, as audience members and everything, we have to stop being so, you know, bipolar when it comes to like the media that, you feel me, that we're getting. And or like, even when it comes to Batman versus Deathstroke, the reason I feel that a lot of people are going so hard over it and they feel so thirsty for that film is because people are tired of seeing the run-of-the-mill Batman films. They're tired of seeing the run-of-the-mill solo Batman trilogy, 3 Batman films, and that's it. You feel what I mean? And you can say, well, like, oh, it was 15 years since, you feel me, between the Burton films and the Nolan films. And I would tell you, so what? You know, there were still 4 films in that franchise, and then after that they did 3 more Batman films, and now you guys are talking about doing 3 more Batman films. There's nothing wrong with that, but the thing is that they're not different. If you're just gonna keep doing films about Batman versus Joker, Batman versus Penguin, Batman versus, you know, this down the line, keep doing the same characters over and over again, and then you wonder why people look at the new Batman films that they're talking about, and they're like, I guess I'll just wait to see how it looks. Because people wanted to see something new with Batman and along with the other characters. Like, people wanted to see something new with Superman. Like, that's why a lot of people want to see Batman fight Deathstroke, because that's something new and fresh.
Brand new. Yes.
We've seen Batman go up against Joker a million times. You know what I mean? Like, in the
Dude needs to evolve.
In the animated shows, in the animated movies, in the movies, like, you know, and not just Joker, but a slew of other characters. Like it's time for them to start, you know, pulling from different comics, different stories, different properties, start introducing new rogues, villains, stop rehashing the same stuff. And the fans have to tell the studio that, because if we don't do it, then they're just going to say, oh, this works, and let's just do the same thing over again 10 years from now.
Right. Well, it'd be another Batman versus Joker. You know, that's over and over again. Because I mean, I read a report just yesterday where they were saying, you know, to piggyback off of what you were saying, 44, that they were saying that Matt Reeves is going to introduce a new Joker in his movie. And it's like, well, forgive me, but I'm not excited. I could care less. It doesn't matter. I mean, we just got a great Joker movie that tried to do something unique with the character that we hadn't seen before. We just got something really, and obviously the Snyderverse version of the Joker, which is Jared Leto, was trying to give us something unique, something different that we hadn't seen before. If you're going to give us something unique that we haven't seen before, we're going to be all about it. But if it's just going to be run of the mill, then nobody's going to care. And I'm like you.
And they also had Joker in Gotham too.
Right. Right.
So they had 3 Jokers that they came out with in the last 5 years.
Right. And I like you, I think that Matt Reeves' trilogy, if it's going to be a trilogy, is unfortunately just going to be like just like a cookie cutter rehash of things that we've seen. Maybe a little bit of difference sprung here or there, but it still kind of looks like they're going to ground it in reality, kind of like the Nolan films. But we've already seen that. We had Christopher Nolan's movies. So really the only place that we're getting anything unique is through the Snyderverse.
And I want to see more of that Leto too. Release the Ayer cut.
Yeah,
But
and I don't want to say what any of the new filmmakers are doing isn't worthwhile, but unfortunately, it does feel that way. It really does when it's like, especially when it comes to, like, I call it the prestige Batman films. Like now they brought Batman into the prestige film era, and when the films, like when they make these solo prestige Batman films, like they don't really even like the comics. Like they strip away as much comic elements as they can, and that was cool in the Nolan film because we had never seen that before, and it was coming off the back of Batman versus Robin, so they were really iffy on, you know, leaning into the comics. But if you're gonna do that again, it's like what's the purpose when we have a Batman in a universe that has all the other characters around it that's actually following, you know, things that, you know, the comic Batman would do. Like comic Batman would fight Deathstroke, and then he would probably meet Ra's al Ghul and end up getting into problems with him, and then the storyline would keep going. And but it seems like with the Batman solo, they just keep doing the same thing. Like, you know, his parents die, he takes on the mob, eventually the Joker's introduced, then maybe Penguin comes up or something, and then maybe Riddler. It's like they really need to do something new. Like,
And Catwoman blows a kiss with a scratch.
Oh, absolutely.
Can't forget her.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. 44. When Flash appeared, when Ezra Miller Flash appeared in CW Flash, to me that solved a lot of problems because you have fans like yourself that is not interested seeing something with Joker again, but you have many fans who are interested in that. So what Warner Brothers did was very smart. They says, okay, I'm going to introduce you to a multi universe. So fans like us, like we want different, we're going to gravitate to Zack Snyder. You have the other fans who likes the, you know, the Christopher Nolan type of Batman is going to gravitate that. So everybody's happy. So it's like going to a restaurant. You have a buffet. You get to pick and choose what you want to eat. So I think it makes everybody happy. If to me, that's my opinion. It really, really does. Now, I the only thing I disagree with you that with Matt Reeves' Batman might be a little different. They have not told a story, any of the Batman movie in Arkham. So if
my opinion on that is that I base it on whether there's going to be metahumans in these films or not. That's how I base Batman films now. If there's no metahumans in this new Batman trilogy, then it's essentially like the Nolan films for me.
Like now, a Clayface.
Matt Reeves has not said whether it's going to be, you know, non-metahumans or metahumans. There can still be characters like Poison Ivy, Clayface, other characters. That would be amazing. That's really what I'm worried about. I'm worried because
do you
I'm
consider
worried
Catwoman metahuman?
Depends on what canon you want to pull from, and that's my point. Depending on how they do these films, certain characters will be automatically taken off the table. Like if they don't have metahumans in these films, then you can automatically say, like Kojay said, Clayface is not going to be in this. Poison Ivy is not going to be in this unless they do a way of explaining her powers without her actually being a superhuman character. And that's my issue. Matt Reeves comes out and says, like, yes, there will be metahumans in these films. Then I'll be like, thank God. Because then we can see Mr. Freeze. Then we can see Clayface.
There you go.
Then we can see Poison Ivy. Then we can actually see a lot of these characters, like the real Bane. You can see a lot of these characters that have been left kind of to the side just for mobster characters like Joker and Penguin because they're easier to portray. Simple as that. Like, you know, like I'm hoping that that's not the case. I have nothing against it being realistic or ultra realistic. My thing is it's time to introduce some new characters, some new villains into the live screen and have Batman go up against them, like, you know, and we can also have the other characters too. Like, if it's just going to be a thing like Nolan, that's where I feel like Nolan's crutch is that since his films were so ultra realistic, there were so many things that he just simply couldn't do because it would just take too much explaining to explain, like, how does this girl kiss people and then she poisons them and controls their mind? Like, you know what I mean? Like, unless you're willing to introduce these comic elements into your world, it's going to be a lot harder for you to explain these things in an ultra realistic setting.
Right.
So you gravitate towards Zack Snyder then. But that's what I'm saying is that when they introduced Flash, they basically they're gonna serve different type of food. They're gonna give us different interpretation of Batman. So you may not like it, but Lord Kojay may like it. Zod may not like it. I may like it. So and you're not gonna hear people complain because if you don't like it, why do you care? Because you're gonna get Ben Affleck's Deathstroke. You see what I'm saying? So you're not gonna be bashing.
That is a good problem.
Bashing the movie. You're gonna be like, yeah, you know,
right,
you know,
right. In a lot of ways, this could actually be a way to make fandom more of a civil place when you think about it in the buffet, you know, with the buffet mentality. Because if I'm getting what I want over here and you're getting what you want over there, what difference does it make if you don't like
exactly?
Yeah, I want to jump in on that too.
Yeah,
because a lot of the problems that we faced as Snyder fans is, first off, we were DC fans first, and we loved the quality of his films, and I thought he gave us justice. But there's also another side that's more nostalgic based, and they're stuck there. But and I don't say that in a bad way. We all have a preference at the buffet, like you said. So I think the problem that we faced that hurt us was people were saying, "Oh, it's not like this. It has to be just like this," and whatever they were comparing it to. And then by doing this little move, I think it was Jim Lee who came up with that with the Flash on the CW, is that correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like now everyone can have what they want at the buffet. It's not so rigid. It's not so one timeline. It's multiple, and we could all. It's like, I'm here. I don't like here, but if you enjoy it, you could do it. I'll be here, and then they can be here, and we all kind of coexist. You know. Yeah. That is cool because I definitely have my preferences.
Jim Lee is
preferences doesn't mean someone's right or wrong either.
Yeah, because I can argue say I do not watch the CW shows at all, but I watch a ton of other DC stuff. But you know, you can't pay me to watch some of them DC and CW shows. You cannot. I wouldn't take your money to watch it. but there's other DC shows that I really enjoyed, and I'm glad they're not on anymore. Like I really enjoyed Gotham, and I actually thought that Krypton was a really good show. And you know, it sucked when those shows got canceled. But you know, the way they did, I forgot, you know, what was going on with around that time and why they ended up pulling the plug. But yeah, it really is about, you know, your preferences of what you're really into and what you enjoy. There's still people that don't like any of this stuff. They only read the comics. Like, you know, there are still people like that. So hopefully. I think if DC starts going down this direction, I think it'll benefit them immensely, because especially with how Marvel is doing it, keeping things so one way, and that's really the main reason why I fell off on Marvel like years ago when I was a young kid, because like Marvel, I never after a while I never really thought that Marvel was really trying that hard, and I always thought that since I was young. I felt like they half-assed a lot of their animated shows. They didn't make that many animated shows. They never really made any animated movies. Like they fell off with the comics a few years ago. And then if you look at the live action movies, they're all the same. So like if DC can find a way to combat that by, you know, like by really trying their best to make this multiverse work, then they can win big in the future.
Absolutely.
But Marvel's going to try the multiverse too, but I think they're going to fail. But hey, we'll see.
Oh yeah, they're going to.
If they show Sam Raimi Spider-Man, I'll be happy. That'd be cool. But that's really it.
Well, yeah, though about the only thing that Marvel has going for them, I think right now, and that's the Sony thing, is that into the Spider-Verse cartoon thing that they set up. I think that's about the only good thing that they've got going for themselves right now. But we've got a lot to look forward to as DC fans, and it's all because of Zack Snyder's Justice League. This is a game changer. We've come together. This is beautiful, and like I said, we should all be super excited to be DC fans right now. They've restored my faith in DC. I feel like we're at a point now where we could say, hey, the DC is going to get good again. But of course, that's goes to everything that we've been talking about on this panel today. It's all subjective. You may not, some people may like this, other people may like that, but hey, we're getting the Snyder Cut. So to me, none of it matters.
They're giving us options, which is great.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, that's what I was trying to explain to everyone that It was very, very smart what Warner Brothers did. Now you're not gonna have, like I have somebody who sent me a DM. His name is EGC Comics, and he's not a fan of of Zack Snyder, which is okay. I mean, Zack Snyder's he's not for everybody. But now he gets to focus on he may like Matt Reeves' Batman, and it's okay. So now he doesn't like you were saying, Lord Kojay. Now people don't have to say, well, I don't like this Superman because it's not this interpretation of Superman. There could be another one that they like. You still have some people that wish Superman saves a cat in a tree. Believe it or not, you're still gonna have people that prefers the red underwear. I mean, I don't know why, because if you go to the comics, right now he doesn't have a red underwear.
No, I think they brought it back actually.
Yeah, they brought it back.
When?
Around Rebirth.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah,
around Rebirth. New 52, he had it off.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I haven't read in a while.
Yeah. Well, but it still doesn't matter, because in the comics you had Superman without underwears. These people, what they were saying is that Superman always wear the underwear, or the same thing with with the Batman never kills. I mean, seriously, all you gotta do is just Google it. Does Batman kill in the comics? And it's gonna tell you where he kills. I mean, even Tim Burton Batman, he kills. So it really drives me crazy, because maybe you're a Marvel fan and Spider-Man never kills. I mean, that's not Marvel. DC is different. And this is why it was killing me that the studios were listening to these bloggers, to these Marvel people, was trying to make DC something that they're not. We can never be Marvel. We don't want to be Marvel.
And
DC characters are more for adults.
I always thought that those were just excuses. Like, I always felt that no one really had a good argument against the Zack Snyder films. You feel me? So what they did was they just nitpicked them to death. Like, if you watch Man of Steel, like, it's a Superman movie. Like a lot of the majority of people will watch that movie and be like, well, that was Superman, and move on with their lives. You know what I mean? They're not gonna sit there and be like, oh my God, this was like Howard the Duck on crack. What was this? And because of this fact that it's such, a good film from beginning to end, that they just have to nitpick it to death. You feel me? Like, oh, Superman doesn't do this, and technically Superman doesn't do that. And if I go down the list of all the things Superman doesn't do and check them on based on this film, based off that this is a bad movie. This is a bad Superman movie. And it's like,
so you have a huge problem with that.
And then they do the same thing with BVS, and it's like, BVS is a great film, and you can't look at it and say the cinematography is bad. You can't say the acting is bad. You can't say the direction is bad either. The soundtrack is fire. You feel what I mean? That third act is banging. But what you can say, is, oh man, Batman doesn't kill. That's an L for this movie. Take away points, because the movie that's the only thing they could have said to convince people not to support these films. That's the only thing. They were pretty much attacking the nostalgia, or aiming for the nostalgia in fans, going off the ego, being like, oh yeah, you like this film? They don't represent the comics that you grew up with, though. They're not like Batman the Animated Series. They're not like Superman the Animated Series. And none of this stuff ever mattered. It's so stupid. If we look at it, face value, is idiotic.
Right. If we look at it from a Zack Snyder perspective, just piggybacking again on you, 44, a Zack Snyder perspective would be Man of Steel. It was Superman snapping Zod's neck. For Batman v Superman, it was Martha.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to with those two movies,
Yeah. And what's funny is those are two.
Why did Jonathan Kent talk to his son that way? Now we're
why Superman didn't save his father? How's this one?
Parenting. We're criticizing parenting and
yeah. Jonathan Kent said to let those kids on the bus die. Jonathan Kent is a bad father. I actually had a friend tell me that after he saw Man of Steel, he wanted to kill Jonathan Kent himself because of what Jonathan Kent told Clark. I'm like, dude, but he was just making a point. He wasn't. It was. Yeah. You have to understand the perspective that Jonathan Kent was trying to instill into Clark.
And I love that scene a lot.
Opportunity. Yeah. I mean, he wanted Clark to decide.
He doesn't say yeah. He says maybe. Right.
Yeah,
Well, that's what he says, right? He's like, well, maybe. Like,
because he's
and that's
still
it.
figuring it out. Because he's got this kid from another world, and he's still trying to make sense of it all. Because even when they took him down to show him where he came from, you see the background and all the details of UFO sightings, this sighting, and where to go.
Right.
He's been doing
Right.
his homework to try and help out the kid and understand him. But also his death scene, I personally like a lot, and I feel it works with the Chris Reeves Superman in a way, in a nod, and works to what Superman was doing. Because in the Chris Reeves one, Jonathan Kent dies of a heart attack. So Superman has all these powers. He cannot stop a heart attack. So he's not he's not all powerful. And that bothers him, and he still wants to help people. Then you fast forward to Man of Steel. It was all like ideology, because Jonathan Kent told him to stop. I don't want you to expose yourself. I'll die for this, because I love you. Blah, blah. That's what I got from it. And again, that's the same thing. Because all the power Superman has, he cannot change Jonathan Kent's individual choice, his ideology. Then in the next film, we see no matter how much good he does, he cannot change people's minds. And all sentient beings, here on Earth, at least I know, we don't have that right. We don't have that power to change people's minds and hearts. We can only do that with action. So that was also the stress that he faced later, that Jonathan Kent kind of foreshadowed for him in that death. So it's a same thing, just a different concept, and it's taking Superman challenge to another level. Because another thing, I kept on defending that film, and I keep on doing it, and my argument is that it is comic book accurate. They get from Birthright, get from this story. And before I saw Man of Steel, I read a lot of my favorite comic books. I read Superman Earth 1 by J.M. Straczynski, our Babylon 5 bro, and I read Godfall, that's my favorite, and For Tomorrow. That's like my personal trilogy of Superman that I liked. And then coincidentally, I saw so many of the elements of those in that film. And then when I would talk to people about it and saying, well, it is comic book accurate because it's from here and here, their only rebuttal was like, those comics suck. I was like, so you get to pick the canon you like? And I can't?
Right.
Huh?
Right.
So then that's what I'm looking for. It's like it's some nitpicky,
basically
and that's not fair.
horrible nitpicking and just overall like gatekeeping. That some people just have this like stubborn, closed-minded view of what they think
it's
these
like
characters
it's almost
are
like
supposed to be.
it's almost like they
people
cannot
are
accept
that-
Superman. Sorry, I'll finish. It's like they cannot accept Superman being a depth character. It's like they see him as this perfect Boy Scout Hallmark card. Oh, I saved a cat in the tree. Happy birthday, Timmy. Good years being 5 or whatever, right? It's like they want to keep him in that mold, and it's like, oh, he has feelings, he has emotions, he has to make decisions, he has to face people who are stronger than him. What? Oh, I can't help this. I got to keep him in my tight little bubble, so I don't have to be challenged in my thinking or accepting the character anymore, because either I like him here or I hate him here, but he has to stay here and he can't move.
And even if we move over to Batman, specifically in the Snyderverse, notice this. Notice how people complained and cried that Batman was shooting a gun and shooting people. Mind you, they weren't even really angry about, in the main timeline, when he's actually going up against the real bad guys. What they were really angry about was the nightmare scene. So a lot of people were angry that Batman was shooting soldiers and shooting people in a nightmare scene. Now, I want to set this up perfectly for you. The nightmare scene take place in a dystopian future where Darkseid has destroyed the whole Earth. He has branded his logo on planet Earth. The majority of the heroes are dead. The majority of the human race is dead. Only Batman and a few ragtag remaining people left. And while all this is going on, the thing that these annoying type people cling to is that, oh my God, did you see Batman using a gun during all of this? Do you realize that Darkseid rules the Earth right now where he's at in this future? You know what I mean? That Superman has been brainwashed by the anti-life equation? Like, do you guys even know comics? These same people using a gun at this point. There's parademons in the sky.
These same people that make these complaints, these same people that make all these crazy complaints, love those Injustice video games. I'm telling you, it's like that's the
Right?
other thing that kills me. I'm
Yeah.
like, y'all play Injustice, y'all play that Injustice stuff religiously. You love that, but you hate to see it on film.
That doesn't make sense.
I just, I'm just too outdone. And we know they love Injustice because somebody was buying them games.
Yeah, Injustice is a very popular game series. Very
It's
popular.
great. I love it.
It's a good game, yeah. But it just goes to show you, and it also, even with the Injustice thing too, not even to throw shade at the Mortal Kombat guys and Ed Boon and all that, but I feel like Injustice itself proves that a lot of fans nowadays really don't read comics at all, even a little bit. Because the first thing they cling to and point towards is like, oh, this is like Injustice. This is like Injustice. This is like Injustice. Do you know that there was thousands of other comics that were like this before this? You feel me? There was even Superman, the Dark Side,
Yep.
where where Superman lands on Apocalypse, and he gets raised by Darkseid as his son. Like there's been plenty of comics that had storylines like this, even Final Crisis, like. So, and the fact that you have to bring it up to these people, and the first thing they point to, well, is Injustice. Well, it's just like Injustice. It's like, yeah, you don't really know what this is based off of.
But
dude.
when you use, but what I'm saying is, when you use Injustice as an argument, it's a perfect argument for these people because it's the only thing they understand. So it's where that's where you're 100% right. I mean, you got to look at Injustice and say, well, okay, but if you like that and you love those Injustice games and you made Injustice 1 a hit and they made a sequel and they're planning to make another one, obviously you like that take on the characters. So what's the problem? It's like, I don't understand. I'm like,
it's excuses, and I think over time people are just going to start letting this stuff go because you can only push hate and bitterness for so long. Like, you know what I mean? Like the people that actually love these characters and the iteration of these characters, they're going to live on and and push this forward. And everyone in the background that's still, I guess, crying about Superman not smiling and all that stuff, they're just, I don't know what's gonna happen to them, but we're gonna be okay. I know that.
I think so too, and I think, guys, what do you guys think? I think we should try to wrap this up on like a positive note, and I think how we should wrap this up is we should just say that this should be a positive time, and we should be very, very happy and excited. Yeah. We know that we're gonna face backlash, but in the midst of all that, we're going to be enjoying it and loving every minute of what we're getting because we know that HBO Max has our back now, and we're actually going to get something that is for us as a fan base. And it looks like the Snyderverse is here to stay. And that is the positive takeaway. That is what we should all be celebrating right now. And so I don't care. I don't care about haters. I don't care about bloggers. I don't care about, bitter trades.
Jody.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Who?
Jody.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Joby.
Yeah, that man is living salt. That's all I have to say about that.
Dude, what the heck? What the heck is using a slave analogy for Warner Brothers? I mean, dude.
I know. I saw that.
I don't even know.
Oh my God.
No, don't even tell me.
That's a topic for another podcast. I think
Let's go back to positivity.
I think ultimately though,
August.
Final positive thoughts. We'll start with you, Louis.
August.
Yeah.
August. We get to see Wonder Woman, 84. We gotta show some love now. We got Gal Gadot, who I think she was told not to say nothing about the Snyder Cut. Not to risk it. That's why I respect more. Not that I don't respect Gal Gadot, but I admire Jason Momoa and Ray Fisher, how they were outspoken for the Snyder Cut. But I'm looking forward towards Wonder Woman. I'm really liking the direction of the DCEU. I'm so happy now that we're getting Zack Snyder DCEU, because I think that's the way they should brand it. HBO should brand it. We embrace it. I'm looking forward. You have no idea. I mean, the next thing. I mean, yes or no? Are we gonna get a trailer in San Diego Comic-Con?
Yeah. Maybe even before then. I don't know.
You think so?
I think way before then. This will be out before Comic-Con, I think, next year.
No, I'm talking about the trailer. The trailer.
Oh, the trailer for this year, this summer.
They're gonna have a Comic-Con.
Didn't they cancel San Diego Comic-Con, or are they doing a video special thing?
They do virtual. They do virtual.
Yeah, it's gonna be virtual.
Then yes,
I think they're gonna do something. I think they will. And maybe even if it's a small teaser. I personally think that a Snyder Cut could be out like early 2021. That's what I think.
I want on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, like based on how many months are in between already.
I'm gonna tell you, I have a perfect day for you guys. Perfect day. How's March 26th? The 4-year anniversary of Batman versus Superman. We get Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, wow. I would want it sooner, but that's soon enough for me.
That would be cool, but Valentine's Day would be good though too. 2/14.
Yeah, give us single people something to love. Come on now, I'm in a drought.
2/14.
I'm happily married for 21 years.
Oh, good.
You're living the dream, bro.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
And on that note, I think we will end episode number 7 of the Snyder Cut Round Tables on that.
Yeah, stay positive.
Thank you.
Enjoy, celebrate
for being here. And follow, if you're not already following, follow RT Snyder Cut. There's a lot of events and things going to be going on. # release the Snyder Cut. # Zack Snyder's Justice League 2020.
And release the Air Cut.
And
release the Air Cut.
Which I think we're going to get that too. But who knows? Maybe we'll end up doing a podcast about that at some point as well. But good night, everyone.
Yeah, good night. Hope you guys have a good night.
You too, man.